So we'll answer the white dragon here. Let me tell you all something in clear, unvarnished terms. You see, emotional pain, it is the worst thing imaginable. The problem is that we women, suppress it. We try to hide from it. We stuff it down. We make excuses for it. We pretend that it is something else. And what happens? We stay in that mess, in that shit, and hurt continuously. Anger is a good one. My experience yesterday, as I heard a song, I decided to turn on some soca. For you non-Caribbean people, soca means soul calypso. Created in Trinidad and Tobago, the most southerly island in the Caribbean, just a few miles from the Venezuelan coastline. When I started, suddenly I began to shout and scream about an abusive act that I saw my neighbor upstairs commit against a woman. That stuck in my mind. And interestingly enough, I mentioned to a client yesterday, like maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes before, about the abuse that I had suffered, being beaten to death, stoned to death in previous lives. And my words always, while they were beating me to death, was, I cannot be anybody else but who I am. That hurt saying it, and it still hurts now, that men, and they were all men, I was beaten with fists, with clubs, with stones, at home, outside, etc. And so I died many, many times. So when I started shouting and screaming and telling that man upstairs again exactly what he was in store for, because he had been harassing me and doing other things, it took over me. It took me over. And I sang and I danced and I shouted for like an hour or so. I was sweating bullets. So I knew finally why I was living where I was living. Because Source, Universe, God, Jesus, whatever name you have for these energies, always send us information that we need to learn, to understand and decipher. And in my case, living on a compound with only male residents was it. I have very little trust. Yeah, I am always in charge, in relationships, and my relationships have always been short-term. But this time, I got it with that anger. I am here living among men who are not of the highest class, who have little education, and who, importantly, have no respect for women at all. None of them came to that woman's aid. It's because I heard it outside my window that I went outside. I looked out and I went outside. Hello, Puncho. And so, what I want to tell you, women, is this. You see, when you're feeling anger or any other strong emotion, sit down and feel it. If you have to roll around on the floor and scream and bawl, oh my God, etc., do it. Because you see, when you hide from strong emotion, when you hide from the feelings that you are holding inside, that you have been holding inside for so fucking long, what happens? It gets a tighter grip on you. And so what happens? You start suppressing your feelings even more. But the feelings turn toxic. They stay in your body because you are not expelling it verbally or writing or dancing, journaling, painting, running, whatever, to work it out of your cells. It anchors itself inside and begins to create dis-ease.